بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة والتسليم. أيها الأخوة والأخوات، أهلا بكم مرة أخرى في حلقة من حلقات مادة اللغة الإنجليزية لطلاب الاقتصاد وإدارة الأعمال بكلية الاقتصاد والعلوم الإدارية. In this session number 19, the focus will be on the simple present tense. Okay, so let's begin so that we don't waste time. Let's look at the slides and talk about it, discuss it using the slides here that I have prepared. Okay, so more English grammar. We'll start with vocabulary, all right, job titles, and in this session and the other sessions, inshallah, we'll look at or learn some vocabulary that will be very, of course, helpful when we take some reading passages in later sessions. So the first one is teacher. And when I say the words, please repeat after me. Repeat, يعني كرر أو أعد معي. So the first one is teacher. Director or director, but say director. Doctor. Engineer. Lawyer. Technician. Receptionist. Sales assistant. Cashier. Accountant. Manager. Police officer. All right. These words, of course, it's very important to learn them through context. يعني من المهم ان احنا نتعلم الكلمات هذه والكثير من الكلمات طبعا من خلال نص وليس فقط من خلال مفردات يعني بشكل قائمة هكذا. يعني هذا لا يفيد، لكن فقط انا يعني اردت ان ابين الشيء هذا لانه راح نستخدم يعني كثير من الكلمات هذه في الحلقات القادمة ان شاء الله. So please learn these words. You check, of course, the meaning, although you have the meaning here, but check them in the in your dictionaries. And normally dictionaries give you examples, of course, using these words, all right? But it's better to, of course, learn them through reading, right? Okay. All right, the next slide here is about the simple present or present simple. So we can say present simple or simple present. Now, when do we use it? What do we use it for? And that's, of course, the focus of this session and other sessions to come. Facts. We use it to talk about facts. يعني نستخدم ال present simple للحديث عن الحقائق. Okay? And for regular activities يعني الأشياء اللي تحدث بشكل معتاد، الأنشطة المعتادة دائما. Permanent situations, okay, الحالات الدائمة أيضا, all right. And planned programs and schedules, البرامج أو يعني مخطط لها لحدوثها أو timetable, for example, schedules, things that are scheduled, all right. فإحنا نتحدث لما نستخدم present simple للحديث عن الحقائق والأشياء اللي تحدث بشكل يومي مثلا، كذلك الأشياء الدائمة. And we'll learn more, of course, when you look at the examples. So the first one is about facts, okay? إذا نستخدم simple present tense للحديث عن facts. The present simple tense in English is used to talk about facts. Facts معناها حقائق. And here are some examples. All right, example 1. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. الشمس تشرق من المشرق، الشرق طبعا، وتغرب في المغرب. But that's a fact. Okay, that is a fact. Another example. Our teacher speaks Arabic and English. Our teacher speaks Arabic and English. Look at the verb speak here, and we have that ending of the verb. We have S. We'll discuss that later. Why do we have S here? Right? معلمنا يتحدث العربية والإنجليزية. Rabbits run faster than turtles. Rabbits run faster than turtles. Okay? And the last example is people sleep. All of these are facts. Okay? All of these حقائق تعتبر. كلها حقائق. And the verb that we use here is in the base form, right? But we add S here because, of course, the subject is singular here. That's the sun. We'll talk about that later. But let's move on. So facts is first, and then regular activities. Regular activities. The present simple tense in English is used to talk about regular activities. Examples. I usually get up at 5 o'clock. I usually get up at 5 o'clock. أنا عادة أستيقظ الساعة 5 أو في 5. Bankers usually get to work early. Bankers usually get to work early. المصرفيين أو موظفين البنك عادة ما يأتون إلى العمل أو إلى الدوام مبكرا. Ahmed goes to work by car. Ahmed goes to work by car. أحمد يذهب إلى العمل بالسيارة. He leaves work at about 3. وإيش يخرج من الدوام أو من العمل، يترك العمل في حوالي الساعة 3. Now these sentences or examples, all right, tell us about what? Regular activities. It's regular, something that happens like on a regular basis, okay? Regularly. These actions, all right, happen or regularly. يعني بشكل معتاد. All right. We also use the simple present tense for permanent situations. What do we mean by permanent situations? Right? Look at this example here. العثيم is one of the largest food companies in Saudi Arabia. It sells all kinds of food. Okay, that's permanent because that's what Al-Athim has. The Al-Athim company has food, and they have a lot of stuff as well. Okay, we can also say, we can talk about, for example, Imam University offers classes in Sharia. It also offers classes in Arabic. And we can say that the College of Languages and Translation and the English department offer a BA in English and English literature. Okay, all of these are kind of permanent. They're there all the time. Okay. All right. Not necessarily forever, of course. They're not going to be there forever. All right. And notice the verb sell here. It sells all kinds of food. And it here refers to Al-Athim. We said Al-Athim is one of the largest food companies. أحد أكبر شركات الغذاء التي تبيع الأغذية في المملكة العربية السعودية. It sells, okay, refers to a theme because we said here one. It sells, right, and we have S because it's singular, because a theme is one. It sells all kinds of food, okay, all right. And we also use the present simple tense for planned programs. The present simple tense in English is used to talk about planned programs and schedules, okay. Examples. Look at the first sentence. The first flight to Jeddah leaves at 6 a.m. The first flight to Jeddah leaves at 6 a.m. يعني الرحلة الأولى، رحلة الطيران الأولى إلى جدة okay, تغادر الساعة السادسة. This is kind of, it's a planned, kind of scheduled, kind of timetable, right? It's planned program, right? And we know, of course, that airports, right, planes or flights are scheduled according to a, of course, a timetable. Classes at Imam University start at 8 o'clock, right? At here. So classes at Imam University start at 8 a.m. This sentence tells us about some kind of planned program at Imam University, which is the time, right, or the starting time of classes at Imam University. And it is at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 a.m. Okay, and the third example here is we have a party tomorrow. It's not going to take long. It starts at 8 p.m. and finishes at 10. We have a party tomorrow. It's not going to take long. It starts at 8 p.m. and finishes at 10. And عندنا احتفال أو حفلة غدا. It's not going to take long, يعني ما راح تطول. It تعود طبعا الحفلة أيضا. It starts تبدأ إيش? It starts, and look at the S here. It starts at 8 p.m. and finishes at 10. Okay, so we also use the present simple tense again for planned programs and schedules. All right. Okay, now let's look at the form because it's very important to look at it. Now, present simple, of course, we have the pronoun here, the pronouns I, you, we, they. And with these pronouns, when they are of course, the subject of the sentence, right? The main verb, all right, stay the same. The main verb stays the same. It doesn't change. Okay, and it is in the base form of the verb, or the infinitive. It's the base form of the verb. So I, okay, get up at 5 o'clock. And notice that we have it for all of them. I eat, so I get up at 5 o'clock. I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. I start work at 8 o'clock. I live in Riyadh. I have friends. And of course, each example here, of course, we already have discussed what it is. Some of them are facts. Some of the examples, one of them is a fact. Some of them are regular activity and permanent situation. So anyway, the point is that here, if you look at the verbs in red color, right, no change. This is the base form of the verb that you will find in a dictionary, right? If you wanted to, for example, know the meaning of the word eat, and you don't know what it is, what it means, you will find it just like that in the dictionary. At least the first, of course, entry is like that. And same thing for the rest of the words. And by the way, we use all the pronouns here, all of them, right, with all of the verbs. So with I already said that. So with you get up at 5 o'clock. You eat, right? You eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. we start work at 8 o'clock. They live in Riyadh. You and I have friends. Okay. So that's with I, you, we, they, or we can add, like for example, plural here, you and I, that's plural. Or we can say, for example, students, right? We can say students get up at 5 o'clock. Students eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. Students start work at 8 o'clock. And students live in Riyadh, and students have friends. So as long as it is plural here, these, of course, verbs can be used with it. All right. Okay, now in this slide, okay, we look at the pronouns he, she, it, okay? And notice what happens to the verb, or the verbs here. What happens is that we add S, okay? S, we add S, right, to the verbs. We attach the S here to the end of the verbs, because the subject is he, she, the boy, Sumaya, or it here. So he gets up at 5 o'clock, and she eats breakfast at 7 o'clock. The boy starts work at 8 o'clock. Sumaya lives in Riyadh, and it runs well. It runs well. All right. Now, of course, we add S, as I said earlier, to the infinitive, or to the base form of the verb. The base form is just that in black, but I add S in red, and I wanted you to notice to see how, of course, made it kind of bigger here, because I want you to notice it. So it's gets. So the word get becomes gets because the subject is the pronoun he. Or if it is, of course, any of these, okay? We can also say, for example, she, and use all these sentences. She gets up at 5 o'clock. She eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. She starts work at 8 o'clock. She lives in Riyadh. And the boy, and the same thing, all of these sentences can be used with it. And also with the subject here, with Sumaya, we can say Sumaya lives in Riyadh, starts work at 8 o'clock, eats breakfast at 7 o'clock. So all of these, okay, can be used with the pronouns and the singular nouns here, the boy and Sumaya, and with the pronouns he and she. And also, of course, with it. And the reason I, of course, kind of separated it from this group here is because it, of course, I wouldn't say gets up maybe at 5 o'clock. Possible animals, if they have like some kind of, they get up at 5, we can say we're talking about a particular animal, and we know for sure that the animal gets up at 5 o'clock. Then, but of course I separated it because it doesn't apply, it doesn't, of course, belong to that group here. And well, of course, we can use it with eating. Okay, we can say the animal or the cow eats breakfast at 7 o'clock, right? But not work, because animals or anything that is like things, right, don't work. We can say, we don't use the word work. Unless, of course, if it is a machine, we can say it works, okay, but it works well, but not at a particular time. Like here, runs well. It runs well, and here it refers to a machine, maybe a computer or a car. So I can say it runs well, right? If, for example, I wanted to buy a car from you, right, a used car, and I ask you questions, does it run well? Yeah, then you say, yeah, it runs well. It runs very well. So we use it with things then. All right, but here I wanted to show you something here. The word get, The way we pronounce it is get, get. And notice how I wrote it here. Right? I used the some symbols here, phonetic symbols, used to, of course, show you how the sounds are pronounced. Because, you know, if you look at the dictionary, of course, and I think we've done that in the first few sessions. And here, look at the word live, lives, right? Lives, right? Gets and lives. But the main point here is listen to how I pronounce the final S at the end of these verbs, all right? So gets, eats, starts, lives, right? And runs. Notice that I pronounced this here, this S, and this one with the S sound, all right? Whereas here, I said lives, runs, and I pronounced, and of course this is the way, of course, it is pronounced. We pronounce the S here, okay, it's pronounced as Z. So here you can see the S and Z. That's the pronunciation. This is the phonetic transcription of the word get. And this is the phonetic transcription of the word lives. Okay? Gets, lives. Now, of course, the difference, or the reason we pronounce that with se, is because the last or the final sounds in all of these verbs, okay, the final sounds are voiceless. Look at the sound t and t and t. If you look at if you pronounce the t, right, the t is considered voiceless, meaning that the vocal cords do not vibrate, right? And se, okay, also is voiceless. I mean, se is voiceless. So the t and se have some kind of similarity in terms of phonetic features, right? يعني الصفات الصوتية بين الت والس يجب أن تكون متشابهة، عشان كذا احنا we pronounce it as س. بينما هنا, right, live and runs, okay, the is voiced, okay, and n is also voiced, and therefore we pronounce it with z, okay, we'll pronounce it with z because z is voiced as well. And there has to be some kind of similarity in terms of the phonetic features. يعني التشابه في الصفات الصوتية أيضا واضح هنا. فأصلا لو أنت حاولت أن تقول مثلا جمع كلمة مثلا book, all right, that would be books, and for bag would be bags. So if you pronounce the word book, for example, with the word with z, it will be very difficult. You can't say books, you know. You can't say bags. Okay, so it has to be books and bags. All right. Of course, I do not have enough time to continue this session, so I will have to conclude it, and we'll continue discussing the present simple tense in the following session. And with this, we come to the end of session number 19. I hope you've learned from it, and thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.